Okay, this is the 2016 Z1000 or the ZR1000. It's Kawasaki. Got aftermarket Yoshimura exhaust on it. Actually pretty quiet still with the exhaust on it. Love these tires, they're awesome. We are going to take her for a spin down some windy roads. This thing has a really aggressive look, accented with the carbon fiber up front. Carbon fiber-ish looking seat, I don't know what you want to call it. It has a bunch of Z's on it, looks cool. Carbon fiber on the front, replacing what used to be green, and a green seat that used to be on there. Oh my god, on the back. That is gone. Otherwise, very aggressive looking bike, but you know what? Seating position is very upright. Very upright and comfortable. And I forgot to bring a license plate. Oh my gosh, let's hope I don't get in trouble for that. Holy smokes. Alright, let's get her started. All right, and we are off. Woo! She's a fast little baby. She moves on out. Now, I should say there are no nanny controls in this bike. Well, there's ABS, but that is it. And if you look down here at the dash, oh, they have two little lights there. So at 4,000 RPM is where you start seeing the tach here. Otherwise, you see it down here. I guess if it's not on here, you probably shouldn't be riding it. Anyways, what a blast. One of those things, you know, smaller bikes you ride nice and slow, and they're fun at slow speeds. Bikes like this, woohoo! You get hauling really fast. This sort of ups the ante of just how fast you can be going on these roads. Yeah, let me back off here a little bit. You know, it is a comfortable bike. Seating position, as I was saying before, is pretty darn well upright. There's no windscreen, but for some reason, the wind isn't really a problem on the bike. And that's kind of nice. The shape of the bike down low protects your legs. That's the whole tank fairing that's built in, if I can point down far enough. And it doesn't seem to just blow you off the bike, even without a fairing. Pretty cool. Not sure why that is. People comment about these mirrors not liking them, but you know what? You can see everything behind you in these mirrors. They're excellent vision. I like these mirrors a lot, and that, I mean, mirrors for me, I want to be able to see behind me. I want to be able to see what's back there, and I don't want them vibrated. And these don't vibrate; they're perfectly still, and I can see really well behind me. That's awesome. Inline 4 motor, very smooth. Yeah, I was going to comment that I was thinking it's geared a little low. It's not. It's you just are going really fast. So again, I'm going to keep talking about nanny controls. Just I hate all the nanny controls that come on motorcycles now. I mean, you got traction control, you got the ABS is something that's going to save people, but a lot of times people are turning those off. And then there's, you know, all the wheelie control and power modes. You get 3 or 4 power modes on bikes, and so you're riding a bike with like no power. You got to stop and change it. And this bike, your power mode is that wrist over there. And holy shit! turn that wrist and it just goes. I don't have to shift down. I mean, this could be a one-gear bike. Absolutely amazing. So who buys this bike? I guess there's another question of what kind of classification is this bike. It is an aggressive looking bike. It's more along the lines of a Naked, the KTM Super Duke, the Suzuki S1000, there's the Triumph Speed Triple, bikes like that. That's what this bike is like. There's a couple of sleepers in that category, the Suzuki GSX S1000 and this one. I don't know if I want to call it a sleeper, but holy hell, it's got power. There's a lot of reasons I like this bike, a lot of reasons I like it better than other bikes. I would definitely not recommend this for a beginner. It's just too much power. Now let's just slow it down here for a minute and I'll put it in top gear here. So this bike is surprisingly mellow if you're just easy on the throttle. The power is super smooth. Where, let's compare that to, say, the KTM Super Duke, where the KTM Super Duke, the power is not super smooth. In fact, you really better know what you're doing to ride that bike, because it's a little out of control. Even with the nanny controls on that bike, it's harder to ride than this bike with no nanny controls. The two bikes that are really calm as far as a rideable bike is the Suzuki GSX 1000, S1000, and this bike. Now that's not to say that they can't be or aren't a hooligan bike. I mean, they are out of control with the amount of power they have. This one in particular is just insane. I can go along in 6th gear and probably go at 30 miles an hour to 130 miles an hour, and I don't ever have to shift. It sort of seems the same with the Suzuki. You can ride that thing around in top gear everywhere. And it makes you think, oh, it should be geared taller, but how fast do you want to go? Oh my God. You probably could do 200 miles an hour on these bikes. They don't need to be geared up, that's for sure. The gearing's really good. Transmission is what they would call a closer ratio transmission, but yeah, I mean, it's because you don't need every gear. I mean, God, you go around in 6th gear in this thing. I'm in 6th gear at 38 miles an hour, no problem. I could probably take off from a stop it in 6th gear. Oh my God, it makes you laugh. It's a comfortable bike. I think the seat is comfortable. It's flat, and that is actually comfortable for a longer period of time. The KTM seat is horribly uncomfortable, but it's only $175 for their comfort seat, and that is a comfortable seat, so that's not a big deal. The Suzuki's got a pretty good seat on it as well. They're good bikes. I think two overlooked bikes, Suzuki GX-S1000R and the Kawasaki Z1000. And it's actually called the ZR1000. This is a ZR1000 ABS. But everybody calls it the Z1000 and actually says Z1000 on the side of it, so there you go. Excellent bike, lots of fun. And I better go back because I didn't put a license plate on this thing. I'm going to get in trouble. No. Let me see, what else can I talk about? You know, the bike has, there's no frills. There's a lot of bikes now are coming with all the ride modes. You can sit here and play with all the gadgetry and change it to from 100 horsepower to, you know, 130 horsepower to 160 horsepower. You can traction control 1, traction control 2, traction control 3. And all that stuff is, it's just gimmicks, man, because you're going to set the bike up the way you want to ride it, or you're just going to leave it in whatever it starts in. And so every time you hop on those bikes, it puts it in the most nanny control possible, and you're just going to ride it that way because you're not going to bother going through every one of those menus every time. So I really appreciate a bike that's just set up right and it rides really well right off the showroom floor, and that's this bike right here. This does have aftermarket exhaust on it, and it really doesn't, it's not loud. I don't think we're really hearing the pipes here. We're not hearing how loud it is. It's not obnoxious. It just has a little bit better bark. You know, maybe it sounds a little bit tougher. Plus the stock exhaust in this bike looks a little funky, I think, just personally. So it's just a better look. And then without all those nanny controls, every time I get on this bike, the only thing I need to look for is, do I have the high beams on? That's about it. Did I leave my blinker on? That's about it. There's nothing else, man. I mean, you just have all the power all the time. You do have the safety feature of the ABS, and I think that's, you know, I think that's necessary. I think it's good to have ABS on bikes. Bikes they've got with ABS now, they really do work well. They're not overly aggressive like the old ABSs of like BMW. They're really there just to kind of save your hide. You know, if you get into some gravel or something and you're on the brakes, it's going to relieve that brake for you just a little bit so you don't slide as much. So this here is the Z1000 ZR1000, and it's a fantastic bike. I would not recommend this for a beginner. I think that it's as I think we just saw, it can be an aggressive bike. Look, there's 6 gear. I could probably take off in 6 gear. Hey, I think you need some riding experience before you hop on a bike like this. You could get yourself in a whole lot of trouble. But if you've got some riding experience, man, I would not overlook this bike. It is fantastic. Super smooth power, excellent brakes, handles really well. These tires, I love these tires. Of course, you can always hear me talk about these tires. These are the Pilot Sports. They don't take a lot of warm-up. They're just sticky, and they can actually, you can ride them in the rain. You could do track days on them. They're an awesome tire. Awesome tire for an awesome bike. Anyways, fantastic. Kawasaki ZR1000 ABS. Thank you very much.